Happy Thursday and welcome to another video. Welcome to part 3 of the How to Reinvent Yourself series that I'm doing. I'm actually really excited for this video. This one is how to create goals and actually stick to them. I feel like this is a really popular topic, just the idea of vision boards and goal setting, things like that. But I just wanted to give my 2 cents on it because I have been vision boarding since I was like a kid, all thanks to my parents, of course. You know, I knew about The Secret when I was like 7, again, because of my parents and my uncle that brought it to my parents. We're very big manifestors over here, okay, so that's just been, so I feel like I have a lot of knowledge when it comes to vision boarding and tips and tricks on how to actually set goals, so I'm very excited because a little bit of background on my goal setting. I was in high school and I talked about this in my last video, but I was doing a Designing Your Future class. We had to make vision boards, and on the vision board, I wrote that I wanted to go to a specific program. It's the RTA Media Production Program. And, you know, I made this vision board, I still have it downstairs, and I did it for the class, tucked it away, completely forgot about it. Somehow, I know this sounds really like fake, and I know this sounds like I'm lying. Somehow I completely forgot about that program. I don't know how, because it's all I wanted to do. But I think in my last year of high school, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I wasn't completely sure. I took a year off, whatever. I did some traveling, was an au pair for a bit. And then when I came back to Canada, I applied to school, got into a program. I looked at the vision board again, because I found it, you know, after moving everything, whatever. I found it again. And on the vision board, I saw that I wrote the media production program, and that was a program that I just got accepted into, and it was like my first, I don't know, I think school was either starting in a bit or I had just started school, but like really close in the timeline. And it was just so crazy to me because I was like, oh my god. First of all, I don't know how I forgot that I wanted to do this program so bad, but second of all, it was so crazy to me that I was like, oh my god, I wanted this. And I guess it's like, you know, like how they always say, like, you're putting your message out to the universe and you're just waiting for it to be delivered to you. That's basically exactly what happened. Like, I wrote that I wanted to go to that school, forgot about it, whatever, went about my life, and then I ended up going to that school. I don't know, I think it's really cool. Other example is like, I'm such a nerd. I've always grown up a nerd. When I was at Toronto Film School, I wrote that I wanted, you know, above 90% average. I know I'm like an overachiever, but wanted 90% average in all of my terms. I'm gonna get more into this later on in the video, but I, you know, had like a vision board as my background for my phone. One of the things was like 92% average, blah, blah, blah. My entire time there, I did not have anything under the 90%. Yeah, I just think vision boards are super fun. They're very important if you're very, you know, getting into manifesting or you're a spiritual person, I feel like. But yeah, so I just wanted to share those stories because they mean a lot to me, and I hope it inspires you to start a vision board because they are very important and also just fun to do, in my opinion. I'm a very creative person, so I love vision boards. But anyways, let's just get into the video. Before I actually start this first chapter, I wanted to mention, if you're anything like me and you're like a very routine or scheduled person, you might feel the need to not be able to start, for example, this series or vision boards or anything. It has to be like on a Monday, or it has to be like the 1st of the year or July 1st, like the exact middle of the year, right? I'm here to tell you, you do not need to do that. I know it's a random Thursday in the beginning of August. You don't have to wait to start your vision board and to get your, you know, life in check and start giving yourself the life that you deserve. Like, it's not, there's no timeline for it. Like, you can just do it. I have no other words to say than to just start, okay? Anyways, that's my little spiel. So now let's finally just get into the video. In the last video, we went over establishing your core values and beliefs as a person, getting into some hobbies, as well as just overall designing your character. All of that is going to be very helpful for today's video, which is creating vision boards, because you're looking at your core values and beliefs, you're looking at that list that you did and the hobbies you want to pursue. We're going to put that all into a vision board and make sure that, at least with the remainder of the year, that you can accomplish at least some of these things. So let's get on to the first chapter, and that is reflection time. I feel like it's really common to just like start a vision board and you're just like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, which is, you know, awesome, of course, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I think it's really important to reflect on how you did last year or the past couple of months and just take a look at what worked for you and what didn't. So for example, for me, like, I would just go crazy with my vision board. Sometimes I'd be like, go to the gym 5 times a week, eat healthy 24/7. That was not realistic. If I take a look back at how I am as a person and what actually worked for me in terms of the goals that I wanted to achieve, those did not work for me. It was the ones where I was like, get into reading more, get into doing this more, doing that more, you know? But yeah, just taking a look back and reflecting on how you actually are as a person and what is achievable for you, while also still having high expectations for yourself. If you do want to exercise more, you have to understand that that's going to take time. If you're like me and you don't really exercise, then it's a little unrealistic to be like, yeah, I'm going to start going to the gym 5 times a week, because you're just going to burn out. That happens all the time. I'm sure you can relate. But if, for example, you set a realistic goal of maybe going to the gym twice a week and going on a walk once or twice a week after dinner, like just a 20-30 minute walk, just something to get yourself started. And then once you start building that routine slowly, then you can start adding those other habits. Like, okay, if I can go twice a week, I know I have it in me to go 3 times a week. So really just reflect on what worked for you last year, what didn't, or the past few months, like I said. And yeah, just keep a note of that. You know, you can journal it. I say this all the time, but I just love journaling. But just keep note of that, and because that is going to be very useful for the next part of the video as well. So on to chapter 2. What habits are you actually going to stick with? So as I mentioned in other videos, I've been reading 7 Habits of Highly Effective People, and a quote that really resonated with me is, habits are knowledge, skill, and desire. You know, obviously that's really true. It's, you know, a combination of certain things. I think it's really hard to create habits and stick to them. I mean, obviously, if we're so used to doing something a certain way, instantly changing that is going to be so hard, and you're more likely to fall off of that habit because you're not giving yourself the space to grow into doing that habit and making that part of your life. There are obviously certain habits that you should just be done, like drinking water, which is one that I'm just saying that as an example because I myself don't drink water. And it's not like I'm a person that's like, I only drink coffees and teas, blah, blah, blah. Like, I genuinely just don't get thirsty, so I don't drink my water, which is so bad. I know my friends get really upset with me about it, and they're like, how do you not drink water? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm just not a thirsty person, so I just don't remember to drink water. But anyways, things like that are easy to do. Like, just set a reminder. But obviously, like I said, things like going to the gym can be easy, but depending on your lifestyle, like if you're working a 9 to 5, it might be harder to see how that can fit into your life. It's definitely doable, but you know, you have to slowly work those things into it. So based on your answers from last week's video, when we did the list of 50 things, all of your number ones, you're going to transfer that to a different piece of paper. You're going to put an asterisk beside one to three of the main things. I know in the last video I said highlight the first one. Highlight the one that's the most important, and definitely do that. That's going to be your key focus for the next few months, you know, or you're doing a vision board for the rest of the year. Totally fine. I know people do vision boards differently. I tried the 12-week year and I did vision boards every 3 months. That worked for me. My parents like to do a yearly vision board, and they kind of do a mid-course correction, which will be touched upon later in this video. And then some people just like to do a yearly one, which is totally fine. So find a method that works for you. But from that list, you're going to put them into 5 to 6 categories. And those categories are finance, health and wellness, relationship, personal growth or habits, and career. So just categorize your number ones on that list into those 5 categories that I mentioned. Then you're going to turn them into SMART goals. And I wanted to bring on a very special guest for this part of the video. He is a real estate agent, a realtor, a mentor, a life coach, and most importantly, my dad. So I wanted to bring him on because he's a very successful man and I look up to him all the time. I've looked up to him since I was a kid. He's accomplished so much. I've seen obviously so many stages of his life from, you know, I mean, spending almost 23 years with this guy. So yeah, I wanted to bring him on. So welcome my dad, AKA
Gary Hibbert.
Okay, so this is my dad and he is going to be joining us for the next segment of this video. The next chapter is talking about SMART goals. So my dad is, what's the word?
Smart?
No, like very well versed. The next chapter is SMART goals, and my dad is very well versed in that, which is why I thought I'd bring him on. He's achieved many goals, so I thought it'd be really useful to learn some tips from him and just have him explain what SMART goals are.
All right, so here's what SMART goals are. Every letter of that word is associated to your SMART goals. So S, which stands for specific, and so when you're making your SMART goals, you want to make sure that it's very specific, not vague, and that you know exactly what it is that you're trying to accomplish. So if you know you're trying to lose 5 pounds by September 2024, right? So you want to make sure that's specific. M stands for measurable. So how do you measure this particular SMART goal and knowing that it's actually completed, right? And well, because you lost 5 pounds, right? So that's how you're able to measure. So you want to make sure that you can measure that particular goal. And you got A. So A is, well, is it attainable? And what that specifically means is that, well, you don't want to write down a goal and say, well, I want to become a millionaire next month. Okay, well, that's not attainable, right? So it's got to be something that is reasonable, something that you can actually attain within a specific measurable amount of time. The next one is R, which is relevant. And so is it relevant to what it is that you're trying to accomplish in your life right now, or this stage of your career, or whatever it may be, but is it relevant to who you are and what you're trying to achieve? And then the last one is time. And I think time is really important because now you've got to be able to find out, when will I be able to achieve this? So is it in October? Is it December? So you want to be able to then know when you're going to achieve that in that specified period of time. So that's what SMART goals is: a specific, measurable, attainable, relevant time. And I think for anybody who applies this to their lives, daily lives, yearly lives, and just lifestyle, it'll definitely make a huge difference in what you do.
So that brings us to the next chapter, which is chapter 4, and one that I think everyone is really excited for, and that is vision boards and how to create them and actually stick to them, as well as the importance of them. I was doing vision boards since I was like a kid, just because of my dad and my mom. They always made us do little vision boards, so I'm a very visual person. I know there's different kinds. The ones that my dad does is like the whiteboard ones, and then I kind of have two. I do whiteboard one and a more visual one. But yeah, I want to hand it over to my dad and he can talk about the whiteboard vision board. So.
All right, so the whiteboard vision board. Well, here's what I love about it, and this is something I've been doing now for over a decade. And I think the first thing is, get your vision board, get your whiteboard, but very important is sometimes you don't know what to write. Right? How do you know what you want to put on this board? And a lot of times people go down the flow of life, this river of life is what they call it, and not knowing what it is that they actually want, and several years go by and they're not happy with their lives. So it's very important to map it out. And so the best way to do it is write down 50 things that you want in your life. After you write down those 50 things, the next important step that you want to do then is put a number beside every single one of those goals that you wrote down. And these goals can be anything from buying a new pair of shoes to a yacht or a mansion. So this is about dreaming. Everything that has a 1 beside it, that is what's going to go on your vision board. And this is where I talked about this in an earlier chapter, which is your SMART goals, is now you're going to now clearly define each of those goals that you want into SMART goals, which is now specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, in time. Maybe you've got 10 on there. Maybe you don't want to put all 10, but you can. But what you really want to do next now is put an asterisk beside the top 3, maybe 4. And those are going to be the ones that you're really going to focus on, because those are the things that you can achieve this year. And those are the most important to you. And what you're going to do next now is when you put those on that board, before you do actually, is you're going to write down why. Why are those goals important to you? And you're going to do it with the ones that have the asterisks. And you're going to ask 3 times, why do you want that? Because when the why gets stronger, this is really important, the how gets easier. And that is how you're able to get that strong pull to the future, by having strong whys tied to those goals that you have on that vision board. But that's what I've done to attain all of my goals. And then the last thing I'll add to it, which I think is important, is at the 6-month mark, this is what you call your mid-course correction. And now you can review where you are in the year to say, have I achieved any of my goals? Put check marks beside them. And I like to take a picture and file it away. And then in your mid-course correction, take a look at what's on there. And out of those goals that are on there, maybe there's a couple that you no longer think is important to you, and you can take them off and add some new goals on. And that's what you call a mid-course correction. And at the end of the year, you can take another picture with everything that you've achieved, file it away. And at least if you're attaining and getting to some of those goals, you may not hit them all, but at least it shows your progress. And I think that's probably the most important thing. And then you're gonna start that all over again. And that is how you're able to navigate life and not just flow down the river.
So that is it. That's the chapter with my dad. I'm gonna head back to my room and finish off the video with the last chapter. Thank you for being a guest on my YouTube channel. I hope you had fun.
I did. This was fun. I want to be another guest on another chapter.
Sure.
Can I do chapters 4, 5, and 6 too?
Yeah, sure.
All right. Hope that helped.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Holy heck, it's hot up here.
Yeah.
I'm like dying.
Welcome to my life.
Hello, welcome back to my bedroom. I hope you learned a lot in that segment with my dad. He's a very knowledgeable man, very wise. Let's continue. So we left off at chapter 4, part 1, I guess up there. So I want to move on to part 2, and that is how to actually create vision boards. I know my dad talked about the whiteboard part of it, which is very important, but I think also just in general, we're very visual people, and I feel like the more likely you are to see something, the more likely you already feel like it's yours. Like for me, for example, when I was talking earlier about my 90% average, I was seeing that because I'm, on my phone all the time. So I was seeing 90% average every single day. So because of that, I feel like obviously there are other things that went into it. You're not just, you can't just write, get 90% and then it'll happen. That's not how it works. You still have to put in the work yourself. But because I put that in, that was really important to me. Having that visual reminder there, it made it so much easier for me to feel like it was actually attainable. So I think the visual component of it is very important. For me personally, I have my whiteboard. I have a vision board on my laptop, and then sometimes I switch it out on my phone, but I have a vision board on my phone as well, depending on how much extra motivation I need. But yeah, I just want to go over it. So Canva, I know everyone talks about Canva. I love Canva. I think it's super easy to use. There's so many stock images you can use if you have like the paid version. If not, you can use Pinterest. Pinterest is one of my favorite social media platforms ever. So I use that. I feel like there's a lot of good pictures there. That's so easy to resonate with. It's aesthetic, it's pretty, you want to look at it all the time. So in order to make a vision board, I've seen different styles. I'll put some examples here, but you can do like a collage kind of style where it's a little more messy. You can do a very organized and structured style. The ones that I used to do would be like, I would have my category. So I'd be like finance and then have a few pictures and then put like bullet points underneath. So just have fun with it. Play some of your favorite songs. If, like in the last video, I talked about finding a song that really resonates with you, play that over and over again, get in the mood and just make your vision board. It's super, super fun once you get into it. I don't know, maybe it's just, I know everyone's different, but I just love vision boards. I think they're so, so fun to do. And once you do it, you will feel so much better because, like I said, you're going to be constantly looking at it. And you can take that extra step and print it off, put it on your wall, put it somewhere where you're going to be seeing it every day. The inside of your closet, if that's the only place you can put it, in your bathroom mirror, like anywhere that you're going to be looking at it all the time. You can make a bag. You can, buy one of those poster boards from Dollarama and just print out your pictures, glue it on there, just have it mounted on your wall, whatever works for you, whatever's going to keep you inspired and motivated. Just put it in a place where you're going to be seeing it all the time because it's going to inspire and motivate you 24/7. So that is the end of this video. Go work on your vision board. I promise you're going to have so much fun with it. Let me know if you do make a vision board. Your only task this week, if you're following along, is to make a whiteboard, as my dad said, with your SMART goals and having the months you want to accomplish them by, and a vision board. Okay, I know I said you can make 2 to 3. You don't have to do that if it seems overwhelming. I would say to make the vision board that you're going to print and put on your wall, but if you do want to take that extra step, definitely, it is so worth making the one for your phone because, as I said, you're looking at it constantly. So those are the only things you really have to do this week. Anyways, that is all I have for you this week. Happy Thursday, and I will see you next week.